So, have you ever stopped and wondered, how does the US government actually work? I mean, it's this giant, complicated thing, right? But what are the core parts? And maybe more importantly, where do you fit into the picture? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today. Let's jump right in. Okay, let's get right to it. The big question at the heart of all of this is, who's actually in charge here? It's not about just memorizing a bunch of names and dates. It's about really getting the ideas that the whole country is built on. So, let's dive in. You know, a good way to think about the US government is like a really advanced computer operating system. It's designed to be super powerful, to run an entire country. But it's also packed with all these safeguards, kind of like firewalls, to make sure it doesn't get too powerful and start messing with our rights. And that balance, that's the key to the whole design. So, the number one rule of this whole system is something called the separation of powers. The Constitution does this on purpose. It splits power between three different branches and makes them all equal. This was no accident, believe me. It was a very deliberate plan to keep any one person or group from getting total control. It's like a built-in safety feature. And here's how that three-part system works, in a nutshell. You've got the legislative branch, that's Congress. They're the writers. They come up with the laws. Then there's the executive branch, with the president at the top. They're the ones who actually carry out and enforce those laws. And finally, you have the judicial branch, the courts. They're like the referees, making sure the laws are fair and constitutional. All right, so laws don't just appear out of thin air, right? So where do they come from? To answer that, we've got to look closer at the legislative branch, Congress. It's designed to be the place where the voices of regular American people are heard the loudest. And even Congress is split in two. First, you've got the House of Representatives. It's got 435 members, and they're only elected for 2-year terms. That's on purpose to make them really tuned in to what people want right now. Then you have the Senate, 100 members, 2 from every state, and they serve for 6 years. That gives them a chance to think more long-term, to be a little more deliberate.
Now, these aren't just fancy titles. The Speaker of the House, for example, is an incredibly powerful person. They don't just lead their party, they basically control what bills even get talked about. And get this, they're second in line for the presidency right after the vice president. That's a big deal.
Okay, so Congress passes a law. Great, but a piece of paper can't really do anything by itself, right? It needs teeth. So who makes sure the law is followed? And who makes sure it's even constitutional in the first place? That's where these next two branches come in. And this is a perfect way to see how they split the work. The president is all about action, signing bills, vetoing bills, running the military. They do things. The Supreme Court, on the other hand, is all about judgment. They review the laws, explain what they mean, and have the ultimate power to say, nope, this one breaks the rules of the Constitution. One acts, the other interprets. I mean, even the official study guide for becoming a U.S. citizen puts it super clearly. The president's power to sign a bill or stop it dead in its tracks with a veto gives them a huge say in where the country is headed. And to see what this looks like in the real world, think about something like an executive order. A president can use these to tell the government how to act on certain policies, sometimes without even needing a new law from Congress. For instance, they might create a new task force or make changes to trade rules. It's a way to get things done fast. Now, let's hop over to the judicial side, the Supreme Court. The magic number is 9. Why 9? Well, it's actually pretty smart. You can't have a tie vote with an odd number. And the decisions these 9 people make can shape American life for decades, even centuries. We're talking everything from civil rights to how our economy works. The person leading the charge is the Chief Justice. But here's the kicker for all 9 of them. They get lifetime appointments. The whole point of that is to protect them from political pressure, so they can make decisions based on the law and the Constitution, not on who's popular at the moment. Okay, we've talked a lot about this system, the branches, the rules, but we've left out the most important piece of the puzzle, the whole reason it exists, and that's you. After all, it's supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. For that to actually work, the people have to show up. This is where all that government talk stops being abstract and starts getting personal. It's not just about what the government is supposed to do for you. It's also about what you're expected to do to keep this whole democratic experiment going. Think of these as the basics, the absolute fundamentals. You gotta obey the laws. That's what keeps society from falling apart. You pay your taxes because that's what pays for, well, everything. And you vote. That's your power. That's your voice.
For men between 18 and 25, registering for the Selective Service is also on the list. These aren't just nice ideas, they're the things that make it all work.
All right, let's wrap this up with a little pop quiz. Nothing too stressful. These are questions pulled straight from the actual U.S. citizenship test. This is the stuff that, in theory, every citizen should probably know. Ready? First one up. What's the name of the game for our economy? What's the system that powers American business? Yep, that's it. Capitalism, or a free market economy. Basically, it's a system where people and private companies, not the government, own most things, and where supply and demand drive the whole show.
Okay, number 2. This one's about a symbol you see every single day. Why those 13 stripes on the American flag?
You got it. Each stripe stands for one of the original 13 colonies that decided to break away from Great Britain and start a new country. Its history woven right into the flag.
And for our last one, a question about a much more recent and much heavier moment in American history. A day that changed everything.
On September 11, 2001, terrorists attacked the United States. That day reshaped America's security, our foreign policy, and so much of our national conversation. It's a critical piece of our modern story.
So that's our quick tour of the government's operating system. But you know, just understanding how it's built is only step one. The whole system is designed to be a conversation, a project that's never really finished. So the real question isn't just, do you understand it? It's, are you ready to add your voice?